welcome everyone to the first GFM talk session of the 2020-2021 academic year. Ahead of our first GFM talk session next month, Georgina and I are taking the opportunity this afternoon to reflect on what GFM Talks is all about, to reflect on some of our highlights and the talks that we've enjoyed so far, and also for colleagues new to the GFM to talk about how they can get involved in the talks this year. So let's go back to the start of GFM Talks. Where did the idea come from? Where was GFM Talks born from?
Well, perhaps I had a little bit of inspiration from TED Talks. I think lots of us have all watched a TED Talk and used it perhaps in training that we have attended or provided ourselves. So using that concept, I thought that was the inspiration behind creating a platform for our own colleagues to share the wealth of professional learning that we have across the organisation. And I think previously, perhaps that professional learning has only been shared in smaller groups, perhaps within departments or within a school staff meeting. So the GFM Talks was an opportunity to provide a wider reach for people to share the professional learning and for us to celebrate it. I think you'll agree, David, that the GFM Talks to date have shown a real array of professional learning, and maybe this will be a good opportunity for us to share some of our own highlights and reflections from the past year.
Absolutely, we've enjoyed some really interesting GFM talks, and I think one of my highlights was, if I think back to one of the very first talks we had, it was from Ben Margetts from Broome Park Community School.
In fact, he was the first to present.
He was, yes, yeah, I think he shared that slot with myself. And he talked about research in the classroom and how we can use the research that we carry out to inform the choices about our teaching pedagogy, and how we can then share that research as well. So that was a talk that really sort of sparked my interest, or I found particularly interesting, just with the Institute of Education and thinking about bringing the research into the classroom. Ben, I remember, shared his own research that he'd done and how he was using it, which was really great for colleagues to hear about and encourage more to do it.
He absolutely set the scene for GFM Talks. I think I'd find it really hard to pick out an individual talk, and I have attended them all, but I think what I'd like to share is a reflection, as it struck me how colleagues from across the organisation have shared. And I think actually a highlight for me wasn't actually a particular talk, although they were all fabulous of course, but it was actually a colleague who joined us from a different school, and she was able to outline how much she'd learned in a short space of time, how impressed she was with the opportunities that are afforded to colleagues within the GFM, and what a pleasant, supportive environment it was to learn. And she recognised that she was able to take away some actions and some ideas that she then wanted to take back to her own school. And I thought that to achieve all of that in one GFM Talks was an impressive outcome. So I think that for me was a highlight. Definitely. I think just thinking about the impact that GFM Talks can have, we talk about being a learning organisation. If we can share that with colleagues outside of the GFM, then it just spreads that learning ethos, doesn't it, that we're very much trying to create. It really does, and I think we have been lucky to be presented to by external providers, which is great. I think that's been really good for some specialist talks. I'm very aware that we've had lots of our senior colleagues. We have had lots of class practitioners as well, and I really wonder, or what I love is that a highlight of this year is that we've had perhaps some of our support staff colleagues come and share in the talks as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that would be something that would just add another sort of level to the GFM talks of hearing from everyone in the organisation, absolutely. We've had some colleagues who've done previous talks share some video clips with us of what they've enjoyed about GFM Talks. Shall we hear those now?
Earlier in the year, I presented at the GFM Talks with a summary, essentially, of what was my PhD study, which is looking at the narratives of young people in the educational system and looking at the impact of government policy on the individual life narratives of students. It was a great chance to talk about something that I feel passionately about, and also to talk to other people about the type of research that they're undertaking as well.
The GFM talks have been a fantastic way for staff to be able to share with colleagues in the organisation about some of the projects they're doing. Last academic year, I was able to talk to colleagues about some of the work our careers team are doing in the organisation and working with our community and our business partners, so that together we are able to provide an excellent curriculum, giving opportunities for Key Stage 2, 3, 4 and 5 to experience the world of work in our classroom settings and beyond. And that's been a fantastic way to develop some of that thinking, and the GFM talks have enabled conversation to go back into school settings and our individual settings and develop that pedagogy that's been so vitally important in taking our careers learning forward. And I'm very grateful to colleagues that have been involved and continue that conversation.
Hi there, my name's Stuart Tyreman. I'm an Executive Head Teacher across the Special and Alternative Provision within the Gospel and Fair and Multi-Academy Trust. Just wanted to talk briefly to you about GFM Talks and some of the work I did last year and why I feel it's important that we continue to promote GFM Talks as we move forward within this challenging period of time that we find ourselves in this academic year. Last year I spoke about learning engagement and how technology can be used to track in real time young people's engagement in learning. Actually, I feel that's quite prevalent and quite poignant given where we now find ourselves in the current crisis. I also spoke about our recent Ofsted visit at LWS Academy, sharing that learning with colleagues across the Trust and hoping that I could pass on some intelligence around what they might want to focus upon or tweak within any pending visits that they've got in the near future. Big thumbs up from me in how we move forward with GFM Talks. All the very best. Thank you. Bye.
It was great to talk at the GFM Talks. I was able to explain how our STEM curriculum had been embedded into our school, and it was a great opportunity for me to have a good professional dialogue with those that came to watch and explain how perhaps STEM could be embedded into their school alongside engineering habits of mind.
Hello, my name is Luke Mulhall. I was really excited to be given the opportunity to speak at the GFM Talks. It gave me a platform to share some research and ideas I've been developing and talk to like-minded people who took it and expanded upon it. They also challenged my thinking through questioning and have developed it far, far further. I'd encourage anyone that's got the opportunity to take part to enter into the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much to colleagues that have shared their thoughts and their reflections on what they've enjoyed about GFM Talks. Really great to hear from them as well.
David, I wonder, does the wider GFM community know how they can put themselves forward for a GFM talk, or how they can attend them, or how they can invite colleagues from around Gosport or wider afield to join us?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year GFM Talks is going to work slightly differently if we think about the current circumstances. So from November, the GFM Talks are going to be live streamed on the first Thursday of every month. So we're still planning to host them in the STEM Centre, but colleagues will be able to join online. So hopefully more colleagues external to the GFM will be able to join us because they'll have access to the live link. If some colleagues are interested in talking at one of the sessions, then they can get in contact with Megan Webb, or they can email talks@gfmat.org. And if they just send in the title of their talk, a little bit of information about the talk, then we can publish that on the website, and then colleagues will be aware of what talks are coming up. Colleagues have the choice. They can either do a 20-minute talk, or they can do a slightly longer talk as well. It's completely up to them. It would be great to have a mixture of talks.
So there's lots of options then.
Lots of options.
And the website, where do colleagues need to go to find the information about GFM Talks?
Yeah, so if they go to the central MAT website, so just gfmat.org, there is a tab on there for GFM Talks, and the programme of speakers is on there, so colleagues will be able to see it.
I know we're busy. I know the professional learning timetable factors in GFM Talks. If you can't watch it live, is there a recording that colleagues can tune into?
Yeah, all of the GFM Talks will be recorded. They're uploaded onto the YouTube channel, which is also accessed by the same tab on the website. So if colleagues can't join us for the live stream, then they can watch it back at a time of their choice.
And I believe that November is already planned.
So November is already planned. We've got a really interesting talk from the Learner Evaluation Group, which is being steered by Jeff Walls, who's been working with the GFM for a long time now, and it's looking at case studies that have profiled students to find out what students really think, and they were case studies that were compiled during lockdown.
Sounds really interesting.
So we are really looking forward to the GFM Talks programme this year. We've got so much professional capital within the GFM, and it would be fantastic to hear from a variety of colleagues this year, sharing their professional learning, sharing what they're doing in their classroom, sharing the learning that's going on. So please do get in touch. We're building the programme now, so we'd love to hear from colleagues who are interested in speaking. Thank you very much.